welcome you to Daily Digest. Good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening, depending on, oh my goodness, depending on where you are watching us from. This is Daily Digest on Esteem Radio Vision. We are located at Obukon Avenue in Ilesha, Osun State, Nigeria. This morning on Daily Digest, I am Chidima Abel, and I have with me
Oluwatoyosi Solanke.
All right, we'll be starting with the Punch. The Punch news headline this morning. U.S. demands action. Federal government vows to track bandit. The United States has raised serious concerns over Nigeria's ability to protect Christian communities following the abduction of 177 worshippers in Kaduna State as bandits were on Thursday sighted moving freely through forest corridors with their captives days after storming churches without resistance. On Sunday, gunmen attacked 3 churches in Komin Wali community in Kajuri local government area of Kaduna State and whisked away more than 177 worshippers, with 11 managing to escape, while 166 are still in captivity. The U.S. warning came as a high-level delegation of the officials arrived in Nigeria on Thursday on a week-long diplomatic tour aimed at reviewing counter-terrorism efforts and the protection of vulnerable religious groups across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe.
Still on the Punch, Food Aid Court puts 1 million at risk in Northeast Nigeria, WPF. No fewer than 1 million people in Northeast Nigeria could lose emergency food and nutrition assistance unless funding is secured within weeks. According to a press release on the World Food Programme's website on Thursday, Nigeria is facing one of the worst hunger crises in recent times. WFP is the world's largest humanitarian organization, saving lives in emergencies and using food assistance to build pathways for people recovering to build pathways to peace, stability, and prosperity for people recovering from conflicts, disasters, and impacts of climate change. The United Nations World Food Programme is sounding the alarm as more than 1 million people in Northeast Nigeria risk being cut off from emergency food and nutrition assistance within weeks unless urgent new funding is received.
Still on the Punch this morning, Tinubu posts 3 ambassador designate to France, US, and UK. President Bola Tinubu has approved the posting of 3 ambassador designate to France, the United States, and the United Kingdom. The approval was announced in a statement issued on Thursday by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. The President has approved the posting of these 3 ambassador designates out of the 68 confirmed by the Senate last December, Onanuga said. The posting includes Ambassador Ayodele Oke, Colonel Latif Are, and Ambassador Amino Dahatu, covering France, the United States, and the United Kingdom. He said Ambassador K has been appointed to France while Colonel Are will serve in the United States. He added that Tinubu also approved the posting of Ambassador Amin Dahatu as High Commissioner designate to the United Kingdom. The presidential spokesman said the approvals were formally communicated to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He explained that the postings were drawn from the list of ambassadorial nominees earlier screened by the National Assembly. From the Punch, you will get the full story.
Still on the Punch this morning, Court closes Kudirat Abiola's murder case, frees Al-Mustafa. The Supreme Court on Thursday finally brought to an end the long-running murder case of Alhaja Kudirat Abiola, dismissing the attempt by the Lagos State government to revive the prosecution of Major Hamzat Al-Mustafa. In an unanimous decision, a 5-man panel of the Apex Court held that Lagos State abandoned its appeal against Al-Mustafa's acquittal by failing to take any legal steps for 9 years. Al-Mustafa, a former chief security officer to late military officer General Sani Abacha, had been standing trial for the murder of Kudirat, wife of the acclaimed winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, the late Chief MKO Abiola.
All right, now moving away from the Punch onto the Vanguard. The Vanguard news headline this morning. Mutwang fumes over fresh killings in Plateau communities. Governor Caleb Mutwang of Plateau State has expressed outrage over recent attacks on some communities in Jos South local government area, which led to the loss of several lives, describing them as cruel and unacceptable assault on innocent citizens. The governor lamented the attack on a mining site in Kuru district where lives were lost, as well as similar violent incidents in Gia Buhum communities of Gui Vian districts of the LGA. He said the killings were particularly painful at a time when concerted efforts have been made to consolidate peace and stability across the state. In a message of sympathy to the affected families and communities signed by his Director of Press and Public Affairs, Guillaume Bere, Governor Mutwan described the attacks as senseless acts of terror that run contrary to the values of humanity and peaceful coexistence cherished by the people of Plateau State. He conveyed the government condolences to bereaved families and reassured them of the state's solidarity during the period of mourning. From the Vanguard, you will get a full story.
Still on Vanguard, family sells livestock, raises 10 million naira to free kidnapped bride. Relief mixed with grief swept through Chacho village in Wono local government area of Sokoto State as a young bride-to-be and her bridesmaids regained freedom after spending about 49 harrowing days in the captivity of the bandits. Local sources confirmed that the victims were released only after their families painfully raised a ransom of 10 million naira, alongside 3 brand new motorcycles and other items, highlighting the heavy human and economic cost of insecurity in rural communities. Before the abduction, Chacho village had been filled with joy as preparations for the wedding reached their peak. However, the celebration turned into anguish barely 24 hours to the ceremony, when armed bandits stormed the village under the cover of darkness, went straight to the bride's residence and whisked her and her friends away.
Still on the Vanguard, I'm comfortable in PDP. Makinde says after meeting Tinubu. I'm comfortable in PDP. Makinde says after meeting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has said he's not dumping the People's Democratic Party despite the recent wave of defection in his party. Makinde said this after meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja on Thursday. When asked if he is also considering joining the ruling All Progressives Congress APC like his former colleagues in the People's Democratic Party, Makinde said he is comfortable with the PDP. Makinde maintained that addressing Nigerian problems requires bipartisan approach with contributions from all political parties in the interests of the country. The Oyo governor arrived at the Aso Villa shortly after Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutwang, who recently defected from the PDP to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Both governors were received separately and proceeded to the president's office. Makinde was a key member of the group of 5 PDP governors, popularly known as the G5, who opposed the emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the party's presidential candidate ahead of the 2023 general election. From the Vanguard, you will get the full story.
Still on Vanguard, troops killed 2 Boko Haram commanders, 8 others. Troops of our Operation Adinkai, operating under Operation Desert Sanity 5, have neutralized 2 senior Boko Haram, ISWAP commanders, and 8 other terrorists in the Sambisa Forest and Mandara Mountains near the Cameroon border. The successful operation comes just 24 hours after the same troops conducted a raid in the Timbuktu Triangle, a notorious terrorist stronghold linking Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states. In a statement yesterday night, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, Information Manager of the Joint Task Force Northeast, OPHK, said OPHK troops delivered a decisive blow to BH ISWAP terrorists along the Sambisa and Mandara Mountains axis on 22nd of January 2026 at around 0930 hours. Insurgents attempted a well-planned ambush with roadside improvised explosive devices and heavy gunfire, but troops under Sector 1 responded with superior firepower, neutralizing 10 terrorists, including 2 senior commanders, identified as Basulu and Ubada.
All right, last headline from the Vanguard this morning. Wike versus workers. FCTA secures court order to break JUSC strike. The brewing Cold War between the Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and the administration's workforce reached a legal flashpoint on Thursday as the FCT administration successfully moved to disarm the labor unions through the judiciary. The National Industrial Court, NICN, in Abuja issued a decisive order of interlocutory injunction, effectively barring the Joint Unions Action Committee, JUAC, from continuing its indefinite strike, which had threatened to paralyze the capital's administrative engine. Following a week of mounting tension over unpaid promotion arrears and statutory entitlement, Justice E.D. Sobilum guaranteed the FCTA's application to restrain the union from any further industrial action. From the Vanguard, you will get a full story.
The next headline is taken from The Nation. Federal government pays 152 billion naira to local contractors. The federal government has confirmed that it has disbursed 152 billion naira to contractors of verified contracts. The payments the federal government said followed established verification procedures designed to safeguard public funds and maintain accountability in government spending. In a statement, the Federal Ministry of Finance said the payment process is guided by existing laws and regulations to ensure transparency and protect taxpayers' money. The process of payment for contract goes through various verification processes in line with extant laws and regulations to protect taxpayers' money and ensure accountability and transparency, the ministry said. The rest of the story can be gotten from The Nation today.
All right, still on The Nation this morning. False claims against Tinubu. DSS tenders Showore's post in court. The trial of politician and online publisher Omoyole Showore opened yesterday in the cybercrime case against him. The prosecution called its first witness, Siri Nosike, an official of the Department of State Services. The witness told the court that Showore's claim that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was a criminal generated tension and threatened public safety. The DSS is prosecuting Showore for allegedly making a false claim against President Tinubu in a post he made on his X and Facebook account. The defendant is accused of contravening the provisions of the Cybercrimes Prohibition Prevention Amendment Act 2024. Nosike, who was led in evidence by prosecuting lawyer Akinlolu Kehinde, said he is stationed at the Cyberspace Monitoring Center of the DSS and that his duty includes monitoring the cyberspace for 24 hours, night and day. The witness said in the course of his duty on August 26 last year at the Cyberspace Monitoring Center, he detected and monitored a post by the defendant Showore to his X platform. From The Nation, you will get a full story.
Still on The Nation, NNPCL affirms oil output boom over pipeline security. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, has affirmed that the collaboration between host communities of the Trans-Nigerian Pipeline and Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited has led to increasing oil production and contributing to greater revenue for the country. The head, Field Operations, Eastern Corridor, Project Monitoring Office, Akponomi Onjewe, PMO, NNPCL, made the affirmation at the first edition of the Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited and OSCOM's monthly stakeholders engagement meeting for the year 2026 held in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, yesterday.
All right, now moving ahead to this day. Ondo South, Oyerimade is competent to replace Jimo. Ehuwa Jackson canvasses the need for all Progressives Congress stakeholders in Ondo South Senatorial District to allow Honorable Matthew Oyerimade to complete the senatorial assignment of Senator Jimo Ibrahim, who was recently confirmed as an ambassador by the 10th Senate. The Ondo South Senatorial District experienced an exceptional surge when President Bola Tinubu nominated Senator Jimo Ibrahim for ambassadorial appointment. It is important to acknowledge Senator Jimo Ibrahim's sterling performance at the Red Chambers during this period. From this day, you will get a full story.
Still on this day, Ogun governor allows Nigerian Navy for strengthening border security, safeguarding Nigeria's territorial integrity. The governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, has lauded the Nigerian Navy for strengthening border security with the establishment of a forward operation base at Tongeji Island, saying the move will check infiltration from the neighboring Republic of Benin and safeguarding Nigeria's territorial integrity. Governor Abiodun stated this on January 2026, when the Flag Officer Commander FCO, Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Abubakar Abdullahi Mustafa led a delegation of senior naval officers on a courtesy visit to him at the Government House, Okemoson, Abeokuta. The governor further disclosed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the commencement of commercial oil drilling at Togeji Island, alongside the immediate initiation of the long-awaited Olokola Deep Sea Port Project in Ogun Waterside Government Area. Full details is on this day.
All right, now from Daily Trust this morning, continuity without quality, not success. This is coming from Saraki. Former Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki yesterday said Nigeria's democratic survival alone is not a measure of success, warning that continuity without quality is meaningless if it fails to deliver tangible benefit for citizens. Saraki said the country's democracy journey since 1999 has been resilient but tested, describing the Fourth Republic as tested, strained, but not broken. Democratic continuity without quality is no success. Coming from Saraki, from Daily Trust, we get a full story.
Still on Daily Trust. Our democracy yet to translate to economic security, Inenna Ukeje. A former federal lawmaker, Inenna Elendu Ukeje, said that Nigeria's Fourth Republic has failed to deliver economic security and empowerment for citizens, despite over 2 decades of democratic governance. Ukeje, who chaired the House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs during the 7th and 8th assemblies, made the remarks while delivering the keynote address as guest speaker at the 23rd Daily Trust Annual Dialogue in Abuja on Thursday. The former legislator argued that while elections in Nigeria remain vibrant, governance has steadily collapsed, deepening poverty, institutional decay, and political disillusionment. Nigerians vote, but accountability remains weak. Institutions are not rule-based. Public confidence in leadership is declining, she said, citing statistics showing that over 70% of Nigerians are dissatisfied with how democracy functions in the country. You get the full details on Daily Trust.
Now still on Daily Trust, public trust in judiciary weakening on daily basis. This is coming from PDP, the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Ini Ememebong, warned that public trust in Nigeria's judiciary is eroding, driven by politicization and the absence of consequences for public officials. Ememebong spoke in response to remarks by the Senior Special Advisor on Public Communications and Orientation, Sunday Dare, who had argued that the All Progressives Congress is not intimidated by audits of its 11 years in government and that the country's challenges predate the current administration. From Daily Trust, you will get a full story.
Now on to the last headline for today. We have from the Daily Trust. We have governance without accountability, says El-Rufai. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai alleged that in Nigeria there is governance without accountability. El-Rufai warned against that he described as a selective fight against corruption in Nigeria, saying the practice undermines democracy, weakens accountability, and erodes public trust in government. He called for an end of detention without thorough investigation, warning that arbitrary arrests and prolonged detentions have become increasingly common and are being used as tools of intimidation rather than justice. El-Rufai, who is currently out of the country on medical grounds, sent in a recorded video of his message and joined the dialogue virtually. Get the full details on the Daily Trust.
All right, this is where we wrap it up the show. Don't forget, viewers, to leave a comment for us in the comment section. Like and share. And don't forget that this program will be making a return tomorrow. All All right, and once more, we want to say a very big thank you to you, our viewers. Thank you for choosing Esteem Radio Vision. And thank you for staying by the Daily Digest. We also want to appreciate our CEO in the person of Deacon Michael Adeboye Ashaolu, the founder of Eniakponle Foundation and Esteem Radio Vision. And also to my colleague, I want to say thank you so much.
You're welcome, Chidima.
All right, until we come your way again, I remain Chidima Abel. And
Oluwatoyosi Solanke.
bye for now.
Bye.
Up next is the confab. So don't go anywhere.